Hello and welcome to Called and Sent. I'm Dr. Miriam Lake. Today I'm answering a question that was asked by one of my viewers. The question is, during the Eucharistic prayer, if it is the Pope leading Mass, what does he say when he comes to that part when it says we pray with our Pope? Good question. Just rewinding a little bit. During the Eucharistic portion of Mass, there is a prayer where the priest acknowledges the Pope and then the local bishop. The reason that we do this is multiple. First of all, to recognize the authority of the bishop in whose diocese or archdiocese the Mass is taking place. So the parish priest is the leader of the local church, and he's under the authority of the bishop, and the bishop is under the authority of the Pope. So we recognize the authority. We recognize the Pope, and then we recognize the bishop in whose locality that we are. The second thing is about unity. So when we are praying as a church, we are not only praying for the small number of people who are attending that Mass, we are actually praying for the universal church. And so in recognizing the Pope and the bishop, we recognize it's clear that we are part of the universal church. And so what happens if it is the bishop himself, the bishop of that locality that is leading the Mass, or the Pope that is leading the Mass? So if it is the bishop, what the bishop says is, I pray for your humble servant, and then he mentions the name of the Pope. If it is the Pope himself, the Pope will say, me, your humble servant. So he also recognizes that he is part of this universal church and he is the authority of the church. There are instances when we don't mention the name of the Pope, or the name of the bishop is not mentioned. When does this happen? So when we have sede vacante, meaning that there is no sitting Pope at the time, the past Pope has passed away and the next Pope has not yet been elected. In every Mass, everywhere in the world, at that point, no name of anyone is mentioned because there's no Pope. And then if the local bishop is also, there's no local bishop as well. For instance, if the bishop has died or has been moved for any reason and the person that is sitting in his place is an administrator, then in cases like that, the name of the bishop is also skipped because there is no sitting bishop. And so that is what we do. So, and the other question that comes up is, what if a priest celebrates Mass without permission of the parish priest? So for those who are not familiar, if a priest is coming to celebrate Mass, let's say in a home, or a priest from another diocese is coming, or another parish is coming to celebrate Mass in a different parish, he cannot just walk in and celebrate Mass. We are supposed to get permission from the parish priest for Mass to be held anywhere else in the parish. So what if the priest doesn't get permission? Maybe we don't ask, or the priest intentionally does not get permission, or gets permission to say Mass in a particular place but is not permitted to say Mass in another place, and he still goes ahead. Does that Mass become null and void? No, Mass cannot be null and void if you have the right ingredients to have a Mass. What are the right ingredients? You need to have a priest that is properly ordained, and the priest should go through the Mass, the rites of the Mass as speculated. And when he consecrates the host, God is not fickle, right? When the host is consecrated, it is consecrated. So the state in which the priest is does not affect the quality of the Mass. The Mass quality is the same provided the rite is followed. So whether a priest is in mortal sin and you're aware of it or you're not aware of it, if he has disobeyed his superiors, whatever it is, the validity of the Mass is not affected. What is affected is that it is illicit or unlawful. And so what does this mean? It means the priest is acting against the authority of his superior or the person who is in charge of that locality. So does that mean that the people who attend the Mass just went and attended a Mass that isn't valid? No, the Mass that the people attended, the faithful who attended a valid Mass. However, the priest might be subject to some consequences as a result of disobedience. So that is it. So in the Eucharistic prayer, you're going to hear the name of a Pope, and if the Pope is doing it himself, he's going to pray for himself, the humble servant. That is what a bishop will do as well. However, if a bishop is leading Mass in a jurisdiction that is not his, he is going to pray for the local bishop. again recognizing the authority of that bishop. So he's not going to say, oh, I prayed for me, your humble servant. No, because he's in the jurisdiction of another bishop, he is going to refer to the bishop of that jurisdiction, of that diocese, of that archdiocese. And also a reminder that it will be usually the diocesan bishop who is in charge of that diocese. So I hope that answers the question. If you have more questions about the Catholic Church, please write in the comments and reach out to us and we will answer them. Thank you once again for joining. We are praying for you at Called and Sent. Please remember to like, subscribe, and to click the notification bell. God bless you.